Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for some more Overwatch action here at the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles, California. I am Achilles, hopping on the cast alongside Wolf. We have a pretty interesting series coming up now. Boston Uprising getting ready to go against the Paris Eternal. Both of these teams have had their struggles throughout Stage 3, mostly Boston here in Stage 3, especially has not been looking too great for them. A bit of a must-win for both of these squads as we take a look at the standings.
Yeah, remember that top 12 cutoff is the one that really matters if you're a team down in the middle, and both of these teams are sitting right there. The Eternal currently 12th there, just right on the edge. You can see the difference between Uprising and Eternal in terms of score as well. It's just that one match difference. So when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, these small things really do matter. Now, speaking of small things, I mean, you could see that the win rate here for Paris is pretty decent. You know, they end up with a 3-2 here, but taking this small win over the Uprising could rocket them forward, you know, and potentially set them up for playoffs. It's going to be tough, you know, they'll have to beat the Dynasty as well, but if they want playoffs here, you've got to beat the Uprising. It's a must-win because the Dynasty is a much tougher opponent, as we know.
Yeah, I mean, no truly clean victories there for Paris, so need to try to take this one very cleanly, as do Boston, who are currently winless in Stage 3. Have to go up against the Eternal today, then Philadelphia Fusion, who in their last couple series have looked like they're starting to piece things together. So this really is a must-win for Boston if they want to have a chance to pick up 2 victories here by the end of the stage.
It's a tough schedule, too. I mean,
Fusion's
looking a little bit resurged. The Outlaws are incredible right now. You've got Spitfire to start things off, Shock. I mean, not to mention, you have to face an opponent you've lost to already, and then Fusion a second time. So it's a very tough schedule for Boston here in Stage 3. But they've been fielding primarily Persia and almost exclusively on the Ana throughout Stage 3. And, you know, it's been said many times before when they're running these Doomfist comps, the Sombra stuff, it's just not been successful, this guy in the lineup, and I think it's time to put AimGod back in. I mean, I don't like to speak ill of a player, but his performance has been, you know, pretty lackluster, to put it nicely.
I mean, people have been asking, where is AimGod? Maybe we'll see him today. Not sure. Only one way to find out is to go ahead and bring out the squad here for the starting 6. So let's go ahead and welcome them, ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Uprising.
Uprising, you know, they've got their own flair this stage. They've been playing a lot of different strategies, the Sombra, Doomfist, but look at that.
There he is.
AimGod is starting today, walking out with his squad. A flex support player from Korea who has made a big name for himself now that he's on the big stage in the Overwatch League, but mostly absent here in Stage 3 with Persia taking the stage, taking his seat. But it won't happen, at least not here at our first map of this series.
Well, we'll see if that change is going to be enough for them to find success, at least in the first map. Let's go ahead and welcome their opponents to the stage now, ladies and gentlemen. Please give it up for the Paris Eternal.
Paris has had a pretty good stage, all things considered, after a rough Stage 1 and 2, unable to make playoffs. So they've really come into their own. They've played the Sombra pretty well. They've finally solidified who their best Zarya player is. And, you know, they look comfortable, they look happy today, walking on the stage. Having a good mindset coming into a match like this is important, especially when you're going up against a winless team in terms of stage standings that can keep you, you know, feeling like this is a pretty easy match. But they better not underestimate Boston going into this one, especially the AimGod on the lineup.
I mean, you never want to get complacent. That is one of the deadliest things for a squad, so have to avoid that. But as you kind of were alluding to, have really started nailing down their roles on this squad, especially in the Zarya, with Danye primarily taking up that position.
Yep. Danye has been the most consistent of the 3 they have used, you know, Shadowburn and Soon being the other 2 in terms of the Zarya play. And you could see when you look at this stage in particular, he's actually second in terms of fastest building ultimates. And that's with just barely a winning record, 3-2 overall. So that gives you a pretty good indication of how much damage output this guy puts in crucial moments and how quickly he can get those ultimates out. Also, how much, you know, he's able to do with his right clicks, because that's going to give you a lot of extra charge as well. He's a very accurate Zarya player in terms of range. And let's see how he performs here against Boston, as Paris is very much the favored team.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the map set presented by Toyota. See if we do end up on Paris. We will not for Assault. We'll be Volskaya instead. But kicking things off on Control, it will be Oasis and Volskaya, then into Eichenwald and Dorado. Try to round out this series. But Boston, you can expect that these guys are grinding away. They're putting in work to try and improve, try to get some wins on the board here in the last couple weeks of this stage. So Paris, like we said, cannot afford to sleep on these guys just in case they come out the gate swinging.
Certainly true. AimGod and Kelix both starting. We put the real focus on AimGod, but Kelix has been in and out for the Boston Uprising as well. And it will be the Sombra Doomfist, the Element Mystic popularized with the Reinhardt Zarya. And this essentially turns into this comp into a dive competition, and it's very terrifying.
Has been a very good strength for the side of Boston as Blase on this Doomfist. Already getting a bit of damage in, but major bio grenade connects onto the Boston Uprising members here. 3 getting caught by that. 1 going to be taken down as Color Hex is eliminated out of the fight. That's going to give Danye the lead as far as that Graviton Surge charge is concerned. Good charge to match Blase. The follow-up is there from Danye. They find the kill, they get rid of that Doomfist. Now Bionade down on the Ben Best. That burst healing comes through for the Reinhardt. They're able to keep him alive. Fusion's going to be taken down in the front. Already, Paris Eternal looking quite good here at the start. They'll get the first cap.
What happens in these compositions oftentimes is the front-loaded damage comes through with the Sombra and the Doomfist, and Zarya ends up acting like more of a support, giving the bubble there, allowing Doomfist to come in and then escape if he's unable to get that pick. The problem is that you don't have an opportunity to get follow-up damage as Zarya, so right now Colorx at half the grav charge is Danye, and they don't have a Zenyatta, so this is going to become pretty rough here if they can't turn this fight right now. This is the fight they need to win, Boston, on this attack before that grab is ready, and it's coming fast.
Well, Nano going to be coming through from AimGod. That's on the Blase. Ben Best has his zone. The charge coming in, takes down Fusions. Now the EMP out from RCK. Manages to catch 5 members, but Cruz is ready with the sound barrier. Shields up his entire team, and Blase is going to be taken down, unable to escape. With that Meteor Strike, now pushing forward, Cruz just looking to isolate somebody. Oops, back Color Hex, they get a little bit more damage in, but they can't quite finish that Zarya off. But you can see how much he was able to build up in the fight. He realistically only got 20 more %.
That's right. Color Hex just, you know, this composition doesn't allow him to build grab easily. The Meteor Strike is essentially an escape, you know, ultimate when you don't have a grab to pair it with. So this is not going to be a good look.
Now grab in as they try to re-enter the point. Sound barrier comes down from Kelix to try to keep them alive, and Color Hex manages to find a kill on the Nico. Great going to be eliminated by Blase. And a rocket punch coming through, finds 1. AimGod going to be eliminated. Danye gets Blase, but the fight very much goes the way of Boston Uprising. Still have not flipped this as Fincy is on the high ground. Delayed for a little bit longer, but Boston Uprising going to be getting on the board.
This is incredible for Boston, a fight that they won, you know, without having the ultimate advantage, and it's really just that play to grab Nico, which is the first kill they got there, which turns into a 6v5 fight. The Blase has more room because the biggest problem for the Doomfist is always going to be that Brigitte with the shield bash. Colorx finally about to have that Graviton Surge.
Ben Best taking a lot of chip damage here as he tries to enter. Grab comes in from the high ground, looking for the shatter. Ben Best gets knocked up into the air, still has to drop the hammer, but they still aren't prepared for it. 2 members hit the ground. Color Hex going to be eliminated. EMP comes in on the back end from RCK, manages to find 4 members. Ben Best takes a little bit of a nap, but as he stands up, he takes down Fusions, and RCK slides off the side of the map. And just like that, Paris Eternal are back in control. Weren't ready for the elongated shatter, and then overcommit with an EMP at the end.
The EMP there, that's unfortunate, you know. Again, they want to fight without the ultimate advantage. They have a shatter here, and this is winnable, but it's going to have to be after getting a pick here, because in a long fight, you got Sound Barrier, you got Grab on the other side. This needs to be a big shatter, or perhaps a charge kill to start things off.
You need to try to hit Cruz with a shatter, but Blase already going to be taken down. Fincy eliminating him. Shatter going to be dropped in, doesn't catch anything on the side of Paris Eternal. Cruz is going to be hacked out, so can't use that beat yet, but 3 kills instantly go the way of Paris Eternal. Shatter comes down from Ben Best. Finzy just going to be sleeping away the vestiges here of this overtime bar as that starts ticking away. Lands up onto the high ground as Blase, and the first round goes to Paris.
You know, if we turn back the wheels of time, I think a lot of people will remember the RCK and Note trade and how the discussions happened around that at the time, which was generally believed by everyone that this was an incredible trade for both teams. Looking at it today, seeing Boston, you know, struggling in this stage. RCK, great Sombra player, but Boston not really able to capitalize on his playstyle. They're running the Sombra Doomfist. Dallas, just earlier, crushed, Note not finding that same synergy there. Take a look at this Shatter again.
Look how long this went on for. Goes in, gets pushed up into the side, then to the corner, and the bubble expires. Perfect timing there on Fusions. Maybe he thought it was going to last long enough for the Shatter to come through, but it doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, this trade, going back to it though, I mean, one of the better Sombra players in RCK, just unable to find that synergy here. Now they're running it with the Pharah composition. Let's see if he can get the EMP value to be a little bit better in a composition that's a little bit more crazy, right? A little bit more hectic in this Pharah Sombra. There's no triple DPS here. They are keeping the Brigida.
Well, Paris Eternal changing it up a bit. Danye going to be moving over onto the Sombra, so now off the Zarya. Hook comes in, though. I swapped over onto the Roadhog. Hacked out of the breather here, so unable to heal himself up. Still going to be hovering low on the HP, well below half. Would have been a crucial pick. Just barely missed the execution on that Pharah. Shot still coming through. The point has yet to be locked down. Slow play from both of these squads. Paris Eternal nearly with that cap. Can't fully zone them back. Hook comes in. Now onto Blase, a sliver of HP remaining. You get the pocket coming through from the Mercy. Eco under fire again, takes a breather. Now the Nano going to be pushed forward onto that Roadhog. Another hook onto Aim God, takes him out of the fight. Suddenly, no supports for the boss at Uprising.
RCK has got the EMP. They have Minefield, but not a great way to use it because the defenders are always going to get more value out of Minefield than the attackers because you can't get into a position to, force Paris to feel uncomfortable by the mines or be zoned by the mines or, just drop them on their heads easily. In this case, it's not a major ultimate. Color Hex has the Barrage, so getting a hack onto Finzi here could open that up, whether it be by EMP or the right click he just attempted. Does get canceled. He's going to look for the EMP now.
Trying to find that setup. Danye uses the EMP of his own, catches out Imgod and Blase. Both of them will get taken down. Danye, the only one, is going to be eliminated on the back end of that. Hook not quite going to hit Fusions. Eternal still maintain control. It
seemed like Boston really wanted the set play there with the hack onto the Diva to set up the barrage, but because the first hack didn't go off and they couldn't get into position to EMP, they just waited too long. Paris were the ones who took the initiative. They still have a massive ult advantage. They only used that EMP in the last fight. 61-0. I mean, Boston needs this fight. They need it so badly right now. Yep. They have to win this.
Gonna have to try to catch Cruz as well. Shut down that sound barrier.
Just can't lock down Finzi. That's what he wants. He settles for Benbest there, but that's not how you set up the barrage.
Oh, nice move forward. Rocket comes in. That's going to be Benbest eliminated. Color Hex just going to be moving around the corner, keeping himself safe from that self-destruct. Finds a follow-up rocket onto Gray. RCK will be taken down, so now there's no EMP in the fight. Command advantage is still there for Boston as they look for the flip. Finzi going to be knocked out of the mech. Danye under fire. Will get taken down by Blase down on the ground level. For now, it's just Paris buying time as they get closer and closer to 99%.
Yeah, that is an incredible fight for Boston, and it's all in the back of Color X getting that boop, as you said, onto Benbest. Basically saying, look, if RCK, if you can't find the perfect EMP, I'm going to take this into my own hands. He gets that kill there. Now, Paris Eternal still have great ultimates here, but Boston barely used anything in that fight, so they've got a great defensive setup now to really turn this map around. And it's going to have to be, again, on the back of that EMP that he's been holding for so long because he's been an idealist about. He's looking for the perfect EMP.
Hacks coming through. RCK going to be hacked out.
Huge
Pop
hack.
comes in, but Benbest not going to be eliminated. Sound barrier comes through from Cruz to help keep him alive. Now Calyx is going to be taken down. Remember, Paris Eternal, they're at 95%. Kills still coming through. 3 members gone away from the side of the Boston Uprising as Aim God now gets taken out. Color Hex has a sliver of HP. Flip comes back in. They need somebody to tag. Not sure if it's going to happen. It does not. And that'll just be the closeout here. Oasis quite handily going the way of Paris Eternal.
Yep. The EMP still held there in the end. Paris playing so well around RCK. The hack there, the hook, shutting him down. And that's a pretty quick game 1 over to Paris.
That it is. They get the 2-0. Just for the sake of Boston, I have to hope that that doesn't set the stage, the narrative for the rest of this match. We'll see what happens when we come back for the next map.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
готовності. Витик. Витик. Огонь по готовности. Nerf this. Get in there. Nerf this. Heroes never die.
Anything that limits or slows down your movement in any way is a form of crowd control or CC.
Stun, sleep, boops, or pokes. These are all, in a way, CCs.
CC is good to use in many situations. If a Genji is nanoblading, then you want to try and stun him. If you're McCree, you can flashbang. Basically, anything to help slow down the team's movement is when you want to use CC.
And welcome back. Here we go, one map in. Paris Eternal kick things off with a 2-0 victory on Oasis. Now we get to shift our eyes towards Volskaya to see if Boston Uprising can tie us up in this set.
Yeah, and you know, I feel like for Paris, they're playing well. They're really, I mean, honestly, they're identifying what Boston's tools are, you know, and they're basically shutting them down. Ben Best has had some great charges. He's had, you know, really nice setups for blocking a lot of the damage that's coming out for the Uprising. They're playing well around the Doomfist. And as we head into Volskaya, you know, I worry about Boston Uprising trying to run these multi-DPS comps again, because it feels like if you're one of the best teams in the world right now, you can make these odd compositions work at the highest level, but when you're on the lower end, it's just easier to, it's just easy for your opponent to out-coordinate you and beat you with goats. I mean, it's much easier to use 3-3 or Sombra goats, as we call it, you know, the Reinhardt, Zarya, Sombra. And if you're not so good, I mean, you have to be basically perfect at running a lot of these triple DPS comps. If you're not perfect, even a weaker team will just crush you with 3-3. That's why it's meta. It's only becoming less meta now because teams are getting so good at running other things, and they've had enough time to practice and get coordinated with it. This is one of the hardest things you can run on this point, and they're going to try to do it. The Pharah Widow. I mean, Shanghai has really mastered this strategy, but I don't know if I trust Boston with this one just yet.
Well, either way, it's good to see the experimentation coming through. Change things up a bit to try to find some success. Color Hex taking a couple tags here as they try and shift this far around the back of the point. Blase in a decent position, but needs to get that damage in. Right now, he's only really got an angle on the Reinhardt and the Zarya. Jane in the smaller little garage just on top of the point, so can't get too much damage on top of them. So it's fairly slow building for the barrage. Color X is going to be taken down. Vinci just finds a pick.
Yeah. And that's, you know, that means you don't have that extra threat for the Pharah. The Pharah is still alive, and RCK is harassing the backline here, but you can't get those you're looking for really easily without the Widow. It just becomes easier for Ben Best. He just has to hold his shield up at one angle, and that's all you need.
Even have the little mini health pack there to help keep them sustained, so don't have to be fully reliant on their supports across the way on the other side of the point. Blase does have that barrage online. Now it's going to be about the setup. Still a ways to go for that EMP. 35% off right now is RCK, and Color X gets picked by Finzi again.
This is rough. they're just he's not being given enough space here, unfortunately. And it's not Blaze's fault either, but Fusions isn't able to get into a position to threaten Paris so he can get those shots off.
Fusions went down with a pile driver for a second there. Fell to about half HP, but gets topped back up. RCK still slow climbing, neck and neck with Danye, pretty much tied up in percent at the moment. Grab gonna be coming in, finds that one onto the high ground.
Another one.
Hex gonna be taken out by Finzi. This seems to have his number so far here on Volskaya. Fusions swings his way in, looks for the drop down, gets that pile driver on the Danye. Nano Boost gonna be used just to keep that Sombra alive. EMP now comes through, the barrage gonna be thrown down. Danye gets eliminated, unable to use his EMP here on this defense so far. Seeing Paris trying to stretch this out to buy enough time for him to rejoin. Fusions using it tagged up as he pushes in. Halfway to a tick so far with 1:40 remaining on the clock. Pile driver comes through, knocks Vinci up into the air. Bionades on top of both of these tanks, but they need to get the finishing blow.
They need kills, and they're not getting them.
Fusion's gonna be taken down. Benbes with a sliver of HP actually holds out. They managed to find Frey, but that's it.
You have to win the fight. You have to win the fight during the EMP and the barrage there. In the longer fight, you will always lose to the Sombra Goats. As I was saying earlier, you have to get those kills. You have no sustainability. You can't stick to the point. If you can't finish off those purple targets that are hit by Bionade, you are going to lose the fight.
And this is a very good swap for Color Hex, but it's coming in maybe too late. They managed to get a tick. They're 38% on point 8 right now with only a minute remaining. Dragon Strike can be built very rapidly, but something like that Dragon Strike is what they needed to force Vinci and Benbes out of that position into the open, where Blaze can actually get some real damage dealt with that Pharah. We'll see if they can pull this off.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a risk either way. Here's the Nano.
Nano down onto Blaze. He's going to be dropping in. Cruz hugging up into the corner, manages to stay alive, but Nico going to be taken down, and Benbes is eliminated. Danye managed to find Kelix. Now no res, now the healing going to be out of the fight, because Aim God is going to be taken down as well. There's no supports. Still ticking up on the point at 53% here at the moment, but Boston, they call their retreat.
They're going to have to try to group up for one more fight. They got the kills, but there still wasn't enough there. Finzi has Grav, and that's what you're really terrified about right now. The Valkyrie isn't going to give you much impact. If they could EMP Finzi, that's probably the best shot, honestly. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but...
Minefield out, EMP comes through, only finds Gray. Diana, the only one hacked out, RCK taken down. They managed to find Finzi. Fusion goes forward.
Good sleep.
Gets that. Benbes gonna be slept, as you say. Getting taken lower and lower. That mini pack comes up, pile driver in, but needs some shielding, needs some healing. He's not gonna be getting any of it. Color Hex manages to find a triple kill. The Dragon Strike rolls through, gets rid of Gray for a quad, and they will be able to cap this in overtime. So 4 more minutes on the clock.
That was huge that they were able to sleep Benbes there, because he can buy so much time on that point, and then we can have the same sort of situation that we saw previously. And watch Color Hex pop off after the sleep. Look, Benbes can't heal, he can't stick to the point. He just touches here because he has to, and you do see the Dragon Strike come out, and it's the finishing blows there.
Well, now back over here on the beat, Boston. 4 members hacked out. Danye taking down Blaze, going to be eliminated already. 67.4% going to be snagged by them. So very fast push, looking for that snowball. If they can get the finish here on this attack, it would be absolutely huge for them, but RCK is going to be taken down.
Catch the beginning of this fight, but you can see the sound barrier is what helps them close it out. And for the Uprising here, you know, you kept your chances of this map alive. You really did, because getting full held on Volskaya is a death sentence in this meta. And let's see what they can make happen here now. They're going to go over to the Sombra Goats. And for Paris, you know, you're looking at a situation where you're matching the composition. You're ahead in Graviton Surge. So you can feel very comfortable here. You don't want to overextend. You're just looking at RCK because he's the only one who holds ult charge right now, and you know Cruz doesn't have the barrier because he just used it. So shutting him down is their best bet. And they did it so well on Oasis already.
Looking for the hack here on the Benbes. Oh, flips around with a shield just in time to deny that. Absolutely crucial. Gray just sitting in the back right now. All on his lonesome, getting some nice shots onto Kelix. That's going to buy just even a bit more time there for the attack to come through.
All right, Nano here on the Benbes is a great way to buy time, even during the EMP. That's the way to shut down that ultimate in this fight.
The Lynch, Nano first out on the fusions. The EMP comes through. RCK going to be taken down. However, Benbes manages to find the kill. Fire strike through fusions. Nearly has that shatter. Gets slept now antied into the pin. Wombo combo onto the front line here, Boss and Uprising.
There's been a lot of debate as to whether Ana can be a better counter to Sombra and EMP than Zenyatta. And I feel like this is one of the examples that says, yes, you basically nano boost the Reinhardt, then he just sticks to the point and helps you survive through that initial blast. And then once the hack wears off, you can win the fight. He did it to save him after just a hack itself, a regular right-click hack, but you know, it's not about the sleep darts, as cool as they sometimes are with, you know, Kareev and all that, but it's the nano boost that can really make sure you last through that fight. And Gray is one of our better Western Anas here in this league, killing it again.
Has been looking good so far. EMP and Shatter up for the side of Paris Eternal. That has been a bread and butter combo since Sombra really started getting a primary spot in the meta here in Stage 3. See if Paris go for that setup.
They keep trying to hack Ben Best instead of Fusion Shatter. It's not happening.
Jump out over the top. That's going to be multiple members hacked into the Shatter as predicted. Both supports getting knocked to the ground, but so far the kill's not coming through onto them, but the front line suffers heavily as Fusions and Blase have been taken down, so no need to kill the supports, but he can just kill the targets that they were trying to heal.
So RCK keeps trying to hack Fusion, or excuse me, Ben Best, so Fusions can get the Shatter off. And we're probably going to see it happen again. I mean, he's tried it so many times.
Ooh,
it's putting him at risk.
Delay.
That's a huge delay. But it's putting him at risk. And I don't think this Shatter is going to be how they can open this point. They need the grab to work. And in order to do that, they need Aim God. And this is going to be on a knife's edge, the timing for this, with only 15 seconds left. RCK can hit an EMP after the grab, too. This is absolutely winnable for Boston. They've got great setups here. They just need to play safe.
So they'll have to get in there. Blaze's getting tagged up into the pack, so they're delaying a bit. 2 seconds
RCK is
remaining.
punching.
He is going to go ahead and push forward, but the pin from Benfest is absolutely perfect. Would love to see that one pack after the round. He gets taken down 10% away from that EMP. Now they have to try to last on this point to get him back into the fight. Sound barrier comes through from Cruz, gets that shielding out onto his team, and Finzi manages to survive. Graviton Surge comes in, Transcendence expires, Shatter in on top of the shield. Doesn't matter how much you have in that barrier count, you're still going to be taken down. Kellogg gets eliminated. RCK arrives right at the last second, but it's not enough.
Fusions dies holding the Shatter he had been saving for 3 pushes, looking for that hack from RCK, and he's never able to utilize it. Rough failed attack here on B for the Boston Uprising.
They make it to 72.6%, so still not out of this, but they need a very strong defense. We'll see if they can pull that off when we come back for their half.
Widdick. Justice reigns from above. Strong. وليهم قوتهم وليهم محمول اليوسف أقوم بقدرتهم.
Welcome back, Benfest, that man right there. Crucial shutdown onto the Sombra means that RCK cannot use the EMP at all.
Yeah, and so RCK had to touch the point because no one else could, given that they had to wait for Aim God to return because he got picked late, which you pointed out crucially in that moment. So we're going to take a look at a replay of this in just a second. I believe RCK revealed himself as he stepped onto the point because you have to do that in order to contest, because the contest itself won't happen while cloaked. And then Ben Best reacts quickly. At least that's what we think. We'll have to take a look.
Oh, man.
Oh, he walked into it.
He knew He knew the timing. He knew that RCK was going to have to come around from that side more than likely.
Yep.
To get that tag, so was prepared. Good read by him. Guys, coming up next Thursday, we've got the Spark going up against the LA Valiant. Make sure you tune in on Disney XD, ESPN, and Twitch for that series, because given Valiant's upward trajectory, things have been looking pretty good. That could be a very close series. But
well, Paris is
back to
opting, back into this. Paris is opting for the same sort of opening. They will keep Finzi on the Hanzo, though, to start things off, not running a Brigida at all. And, you know, again, this is the harder way to engage. You know, this is hard mode, and they're going to swap, it looks like, a few of these heroes around before they settle in after seeing that it will be the Sombra defense here with Reinhardt Zarya. So they'll settle on, looks like Tracer and Widow for the attack here. So still quad DPS coming through. Actually, you know, just the solo heals.
yeah, only going to be on Cruz for the healing.
So this is a lot of threat for the Boston Uprising to deal with all at the same time in this room. RCK has to play safer than he is now, or he's going to get cut off.
Taking a little bit of damage here. Great. Tagged up by that right click. One tick, nearly snagged for free.
They have to come out of the room.
Paris is happy about this.
Yeah, the point is touched. They've got to get out of there.
Shield already taking a lot of damage. Fusions pushed up onto the point, hacked out. Still hovering around half HP. Gets that armor pack out from Blase to try and stay sustained for a bit longer. Now looking to rejoin with the rest of his squad. But he's taking damage from all sides as he turns around to try to block the Tracer. Finzi cuts him down with a Widow. Best will be traded out, but they're still ticking up on the point. Paris Eternal taking advantage of this. The res even comes in from Cruz. Now have that main tank. Nico sends aim god off the side of the map into the icy depths. And this could just be a very steady push here onto point A. Pulse bomb out from Gray, unable to find the kill directly, but Finzi is cleaning up house.
The biggest difference between the defense here that we saw from Paris on their attempt to hold this against a similar strategy versus Boston's is they played around this room that we just passed there next to the point so they could contest with Finzi on the Zarya. Boston played far back, so they got collapsed on here. We're going to take a replay of this, you know, Finzi popping off. But if you play in the room that Boston just played in, when you have to come out to contest the point, you leave yourself vulnerable to a Widow, you leave yourself vulnerable to a Tracer, you're open to all angles of attack, but the Paris defense put them in that room where they were not.
So now they're swapping it up. They will be running the Sombra Goats as well to match, but they know that they have time on their side, so this EMP coming through is quite all right for Paris as far as they're concerned. So they don't even have to finish the point. Answering EMP now comes out. It's a complete brawl in the Mega Room. Two members left on either side. Aim God able to find Gray at the end, but Nico, he's still on the point. Alongside Danye, one ticket to be snagged for free.
Oh, Aim God's trying to trance touch here. That's unfortunate ultimate waste there. Thing is, you've got to do this, you feel like, as the Zenyatta in this case.
Oh, yeah.
But Paris are laughing back at the spawn because they know that that's a massive ultimate you've just had to waste, and they have 5:20 on the clock to just get basically another tick, just over another tick.
Pretty much halfway there already. Best pushed up on to the corner here. A little bit of damage. They're halfway to that next check mark. Almost have it. Fusions finally pushes up onto the point. Shatter nearly online for both of these Reinhardts. Blase gonna have the rally, expecting to pop that one pretty much immediately as soon as it becomes available. There it is. Comes through trying to get everybody armored up. Best getting juggled around. And you can see just getting hounded down by that Brigida. Blase helping get rid of him, so they hold out for a little bit longer, deny that second tick coming through.
Paris is playing around ultimates right now. They're doing you know, what we call an eco push, where you come and try to build as much ultimate charge as possible, but you don't use any. You don't heavily commit to the fight. You just look to take over the you know, the ult economy. If they could bait out a sound barrier on this push, then they have the EMP ready. I mean, that's pretty much all you need. We've got 4 minutes left. We've got so many opportunities to force that mistake or that overextension defensively.
I like the way the Fusions is playing this. Pretty patient on the drop down. Gets the shatter in. Manages to find two. Boop to the side. Denies that pin away. And now he's going to be slapped. They push forward. Looking to finish him off. Getting juggled around. Swinging away like a madman. Just trying to stay alive. But it's not going to be enough. Cruz manages to come up with that kill. A 1-for-1. Danya now respawning. Trying to get back into the fight.
EMP is almost ready.
On the ground to try to keep everybody else topped up. Nano is thrown forward on a color hex. And he has 100 energy. So major threat now to the side of Paris. Bionade's flying. They're going to hold him off again. Boston Holding strong, but still 3.5 minutes.
I think that it was a miscommunication on whether Danye had EMP or not, because it's a perfect fight if Danye has the last 8 or so % of that EMP, because he deletes the sound barrier in that moment and you wipe the fight. He still has EMP for the next fight, but there's not as much to pair with it. They know that there's no sound barrier here, but that's not necessarily enough to guarantee you this fight. I mean, it's a great setup for the Paris here, but you know, you don't necessarily want to commit to it when you've got 3 extra minutes. So are they going to play it greedy or are they going to play it safe? Looks like greedy.
Well, for now, just still moving up onto the point. Translocator comes out, jump over the top. RCK instantly deleted by Gray. 3 members still hacked on the side of Boston Uprising, but the kill's not coming through onto them yet. Sound barrier out from Paris Eternal as they look to just win the elongated fight here. Rally is rolling from Blase, but it's not enough to keep Fusions alive. He'll get taken down. Shatter comes through. Catches Color Hex in the back. EMP out from RCK, manages to find multiple members on the side of Paris Eternal, but they need the cleanup. He's going to get shield bash taken down, and the map will close. Paris Eternal now leading 2-0.
And Paris won this map from a much better defense on a better understanding of how to touch the point against the multiple DPS compositions there. That gave them the massive time bank they needed to finish B there with an ult advantage. Well played, Paris. Great defense there on the A.
Yep. Good restraint, knowing that they had time on their side to just play it slow. So 2-0 lead here for Paris. Match point. Let's see what happens when we come back from halftime.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Guerrijos de huevo. Guerrijos de las luces.
The Boston Uprising is hoping to avoid a winless Stage 3, but Paris has their sights set on the Stage 3 playoffs, and they're currently taking care of business in this one. It's all Paris, up 2-0 over the Uprising at the half. Welcome back into the Blitz Arena, where we have an excited crowd, right? Yes, the energy. I feel it. I love it. Got some good games today, and we are all excited on the analyst desk because earlier on the pre-show, you heard Monty say, why are you running Persia? We want to see Aim God again. Aim God better statistically throughout the season. Persia has had some recent struggles, as has Boston throughout all of Stage 3. But we saw Aim God today, Doa.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, Aim God came back, and although, you know, Boston not doing so well in terms of map wins, he had some better individual plays. I think we've got some highlights to take a look at with all of that. And, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's everybody
right.
from map 1.
Of course, yes. Why stop at just aim god? But we do have mostly BenBest. I love this, right? He gets knocked way high up in the air, and you really can't fault Fusions too much for this, right? Because he heard the sound line, all that kind of stuff. He had his shield up, dropped it because he thought it was over. It was not over. BenBest still coming down with the Earth Shatter, but Danya stepping up as well today. Paris Eternal overall just playing really, really well. But on the Boston side, gotta give a little bit of credit to Aim God.
Yeah, I think Aim God has been better individually, but it's proof that Boston Uprising's troubles run far deeper than just who they have in flex support.
Yeah.
They look fairly uncoordinated, and even with these kind of plays, they're struggling. They're running double support here and really attempting to apply pressure to BenBest, but they need this Hanzo, which they eventually got. But then when they're playing the triple tank, triple support, but with the Sombra in the mix, it looks so much less coordinated than Paris.
Question for you. After watching ColorX popping off on point A, if you kept him on the Hanzo instead of flexing him back over to the Zarya, do you get that second point as Boston?
No, I don't think so.
You need the Zarya.
Well, you don't have the sight lines on the second point to be able to use the Hanzo effectively. So it only really works for point A because you know that the defenders are going to be holding on the point, and you have all of that high ground around to be able to utilize the sight lines. On point B, you're very crowded, cramped, coming in through choke points. That's why you don't see as much double.
I mean, when you got things like BenBest charging and pinning the Sombra right out of stealth.
Yeah, what was
like,
that?
What chance do you have, really, at
That's
that point?
crazy.
Things are going against Boston today. Paris, everything is looking great, including young Gray, not only on the Tracer, but also on the Ana today. What did you see from Gray in this one, Josh?
Yeah, with my eyes on Aim God, I was actually looking at Gray because he ended up coming up with the bigger picks. So his insights powered by Intel, where I'm going to run you through this composition that we're seeing quite a lot of. It was mirror comps to push point B, and this is your classic Sombra goats, but with the Ana. So the Nano Boost interacts really nicely with the EMP on the other side from RCK. They have BenBest really isolated, and BenBest is the bait. So they have the rest of the players spread out. You can't EMP everybody on Paris here. And it's going to be Gray's job to save BenBest with a Nano Boost when he gets EMP'd. I love this method of play because when he gets, if you were going to try and save him with a trance, he would have to run really quickly in there. And you see the main tank just get obliterated very often. But with the Nano, you can Nano him from any distance across the map, keep your supports in your front line incredibly separated, and that's a really nice way of being able to save your main tank. And one of the reasons why I love running the Ana against the Sombra compositions.
I love that. I mean, once you're a nanoed Reinhardt, can I come over here too?
I'm new at this halftime.
I love it.
Come on in.
No, I love seeing it. The sleep at the end to sleep the other nanoed Reinhardt. But I mean, if you're gonna nano a Reinhardt, that Ryan just wants to swing anyway. If you're hacked, you're EMP'd, you don't need the shield.
Well, a tiny point like that too, you can't run away from him very well either.
Just wait for the EMP. Don't nano them aggressively. Wait for the EMP. It's a healing tool.
Be patient, Plat players. Be patient. Please, I'll be in your games tonight. Josh, let's talk about our predictions, though, moving forward. How do you see this working for our Paris team in the future?
Yeah, we ran a graphic a couple of days ago where we were looking at the projected record here for the Paris Eternal and kind of saying where we expect them to get these wins. They play against the Uprising today. That's an expected win. They're 2-0 up as well. But it gets very difficult for them outside of that. These are some real difficult games that they've got later on. Now, for the Boston Uprising, a team that had so much success early on in the season, it's potentially even worse because they play the Paris Eternal. They've already played them earlier on, and they've only got these two games against Justice and Mayhem. These are two teams that desperately need to turn their season around, and they'll be looking against teams like Charge and Hunters to be able to actually make the 12th spot for the playoffs. Both of these teams desperately need this win right here today to be able to turn their season around.
Joe, it's the hardest question of halftime, and it's coming your way right now.
All right,
if
bring
you
it on.
are the Boston Uprising, how do you force this to a Game 5? Because this is one of few teams that has shown multiple reverse sweeps in this season.
I don't know, man. I think that magic is gone. I think the time has passed. And I think at this point, you just try to find a way to put together a coordinated anything. Like, their pushes have looked out of sync. Like, obviously, Aim God, like we said, doing a little bit better. But honestly, I'm not noticing a big difference team-wise to when Persia was in. So I don't have an answer. I'm a play-by-play guy.
No answer quite yet, guys. We'll find out. Can Boston find the answer? The coaches are talking to him right now. We'll see how it plays out in the second half.
And when it comes to in-game communication, if they say some words in Korean, I understand like some of them that have to do with the enemy or some abilities or something like that.
처음부터 게임 많이 하고 서로 이제 얘기도 이제 영어로 많이 하려고 하다 보니까 언제부턴가 이제 좀 자연스럽게 친해지게 된 것 같아요. 이미 많이 친해요.
desperate, but there goes Poco, and London Spitfire have done it! They will fly high as your Overwatch League champions!
The primal rage, but it does not matter! Ladies and gentlemen, history has been made! The Shanghai Dragons, on the 43rd attempt out, managed to pick up their first match victory!
Feels like a really emotional moment here. They've waited a long time for this. They finally did it.
That's right, we are nominated not for one, but two separate occasions for Best Esports Moment of the Year. Shanghai Dragons getting their first match of victory, and of course the London Spitfire taking the inaugural season championship. So make sure you guys go vote, because the voting is open now.
It's time to head to the second half of this series, though, Achilleos. And for the Boston Uprising, I think their best bet to slide back into this series is just playing the Sombra Goats. Pull away from the DPS comps that we're seeing from them. They're not really executing them at the level that needs to be done. RCK, Sombra player who played well in the old Sombra meta, where you're looking to hack priority targets. We've seen so many times he's trying to hack Ben Best to set up for Fusion Shatter. That's been their game plan for a lot of these team fights. As we head into Eikebald, even tougher to make that happen. But, you know, that's the old meta, where you're looking to hack. In the new meta, you're looking to maximize EMP, non-stop EMP, almost every chance you get where it's going to be a favorable fight, and build a new one if the fight doesn't work. Yep. So many of these times we're seeing RCK hold EMP, he's looking for the perfect fight, or he's looking for the hack onto Ben Best to set up for a shatter to then EMP later. And these things just aren't working. That level of intense set play isn't going to work against a team that's just playing defensively and knows that you're doing this. I mean, we saw Ben Best get that charge earlier because he knew that that's how RCK was going to touch the point. You know, it takes a lot of coordination to run these DPS comps to their maximum potential.
Yeah. I assume this is going to be scouting. And Blase is just hanging back in the point. We'll be swapping off of the Torbjorn.
They're rolling
onto the Doomfist.
They're rolling in with this again. This time it's not going to be with Zarya at least, so it's more potential for that extra damage from Color Hex on this Pharah. And he's got a good angle. A map specific here. So he's not going to be, you know, getting lapped in Graviton Surge in this case.
Still multiple places for the members of Paris Eternal to hide again just outside the point, so need to force them out into the open and get that damage through. And that stun over onto the side. Gray gonna be taking down Color Hex. Manages to find the first kill here. Blase into the back, gets that rocket punch onto Finzi, but Bubble was up, so making sure that he is still sane. Nice match there on the charge, but the barrage built up so rapidly here from Color Hex. Instantly finds three as Ben Best hits the ground. Didn't have that shield to block. There's no Diva to mitigate on the side of Paris Eternal, and Boston Uprising, they look concise on this first push. They cap A.
Color Hex gets the room to work with there because of the threat of Blase. Look at how little damage Blase did in that last fight. That's not what's important. What's important is that he forced the rest of Paris Eternal to move out of their comfort zone, move out of where they were blocking rockets using terrain so that he could get all that damage done, then of course set up for the barrage. And when you look at, you know, the great time bank they have now, you know, it's worth considering leaving the Doomfist, you know, in play here if you can make it happen again on top of the castle.
I mean, just from that first push, taking a look at the numbers, 71% of the damage dealt was by Color Hex there. Unsurprisingly.
Blase has done 56 damage this game. But it's not about the damage, it's about the threat.
It's the presence, you know? The zoning Doomfist. RCK gonna be picked off though. Nico able to come up with the kill there. Alleviate a little bit of pressure, but Kelix puts him back into the fight pretty rapidly with that res. RCK is still trying to catch up to Danya and get that EMP ready. Card has been inching forward, but moving closer and closer to where Paris Eternal are grouped up. EMP comes in from Danya, really only finds Aim God and Fusions, gets that follow-up hack.
Yeah, that was a bit overzealous to hope to get value in that situation with the EMP. He didn't have follow-up damage nor a positional advantage, so that one ends up being a bit rough here for the Eternal, and Boston Uprising get to actually continue this Doomfist pop. I think if that had gone differently, we'd probably see a swap here, but they get to keep Blase on this. He has so much power with this ultimate, not because he's going to get a sick combo with it, but because he's going to be able to survive so long that he can really play far forward, then use it to survive.
Jump up over the top, EMP comes down, manages to find three. Cruz uses that sound barrier, but then Best and Finzi, the tanks, they don't get caught by it. They were disconnected, so that means that we get the pop out on the mech, and Benbest gets taken down. Another barrage now coming through from Color Hex, manages to find Gray. Otherwise, not too much else on the back of that ultimate, but Nico, he's popping the rally in desperation now, pulling back across the bridge, trying to stay alive.
They don't want to take the fight with, on the bridge itself. Boston doesn't. They want to take the fight here where they have the choke control. That's why we're seeing a contest there with the rally. Doesn't end up really stopping them though. Boston has positional advantage now. Still that meteor strike.
Minor combo potential here. Minefield going to be dropped in. Benbest has to pop that primal range. Going to be looking for some knockoffs the side of the map, but it's a lot of damage. He chipped down below half HP pretty rapidly. Trying to wait and get some healing to come back through, but Paris Eternal, the HP bars just have not been looking great. Benbest up into the air, going to be taken down by RCK. Cruz falling just beforehand. Clean up here onto Finzi. And they should just be able to roll this one right into B, so still fantastic timing for Boston Uprising, 4 minutes plus on the clock.
And, Blase is basically invulnerable still because he has that meteor strike. And Paris has really just dropped the ball in terms of getting patient and using the hacks and the EMP and the stuns from Nico to shut down the Doofus at the front so they can then follow up and try to push Color Hex back. Here's the EMP.
EMP comes out, this time only going to be finding fusions. Bomb into the back from Finzi, does manage to find Aim God. 2 ult commitment here for the side of Paris Eternal, with Danya nearly taken down, but it seems like they will be able to hold the card at least for a moment. Color Hex drops a barrage, doesn't find anything, but they manage to res Aim God back in the fight. The Nano was used. Benbest taking a nap here, so not going to be getting too much from that.
At first glance, it looks like Danye's EMP wasn't that good, but in reality, he zoned them back. They had to avoid him there. They still got the hack that led to the first kill. And then the fight happens in a choke where Color Hex is trying to turn the fight with his barrage, but he gets caught. He's obviously planning on swapping over to the Zarya right afterwards.
Doomfist.
This can get you an insta-pick, but it can also cost you your life.
Yep. Gotta be careful. Protection coming in. RCK wraps around the corner, manages to find 3. Gray going to be taken down by Blase, patiently waiting in the back. Now the punch comes through. Danye going to be eliminated. 3 for 2 in favor of the Boston Uprising for now. Looking for a bit more. Meteor Strike will take down Cruz. Alex going to be taken down. So still very scrappy fight, but the card can start advancing as Finzi should be eliminated here at the end.
Blase really putting the team on his back in a lot of ways with his Doomfist. It doesn't always look flashy when you're playing the Doom. Sometimes it's just that threat we were talking about. But this time, he actually comes up with the kills with that risky play. He catches Gray, and then gets that second kill there, killing both supports in a longer fight.
So major ult commitments coming through. Now the EMP out from Danye, catches 5. Fusion's going to be taken down. No shield to stand behind. Means the Shatter catches 2 members. Benbest gets that charge kill there onto Aim God, and that's going to be a reset now. Down to 2 minutes, so cutting the time bank in half so far is Paris Eternal's defense.
Blase should consider the swap here, though, back to the Brigida, and he will, because at this point, you've lost control of the choke in this doorway, and you're not going to be able to enter. You're facing stuns and hacks. It's better to have a better answer for Danye, who's leading, in EMP value this game, despite that lackluster one we saw previously.
Fire strike through. Softening them up. Hack now onto Finzi. Hack on the side onto Aim God. Looks like he's going to be okay. Quite content with that one so far. Grab comes in from Finzi. Catches him right here in the entryway. And it is all Paris in the kill feed coming up drunk.
They knew, through obviously ult tracking and multiple hacks from the Kelix over the last few moments that there was just no way you could have sound barrier there. And even if you did, you were stuck in such a bad place that I don't think you would live through. So love that commitment from Finzi, just burning the clock a little bit and hoping that Danye will catch up EMPs to have that in the next fight.
Gray nearly took down Aim God. I believe he had to use a biotic grenade on himself just to get top back up fast enough. RCK for an angle, has that EMP. Gray out in the open, sees Cruz way into the back. He would love to catch him, but he's not able to do so. Barrier comes down from Cruz instantly. Benbest hacked out, bio-naded, but still gonna be alive. Trying to hold firmly here. It's a Shatter and Fusions coming up with 2 kills. Benbest only able to take down Blase, and the cart will finally start advancing now. Able to drain the clock down to 30 seconds. Paris Eternal, can they stop this, or can they at least force out overtime? That's the question.
Benbest has to switch the ball, and he will. He's coming in. If they can get a single pick, they can survive.
Bionade zones back 2 for the moment. Now the rally going to be out from Nico. Danye hacked. Still going to be safe. And Boston Uprising, they pulled back around the corner. Gray going to be taken down. That might be the go button for them.
They need more than that. They're going to have to get another kill here. Everyone's low.
The reach join from Kelix. 8 seconds remaining. Paris just stay glued to this card. You can force out the over.
There's the
Scatter
scatter.
comes in for fusions, manages to find two. Nico going to be taken out with a fire strike. Finzi with a sliver of HP. Finished off by Kelix, but we are into overtime. Now, they just have to try to finish the map, and it seems like they're going to do just that as they get the team killed. They glide in. It was a very good start. Paris stabilized at the end, but they still make it to the end of Eichenwald.
Really showcasing how much preparation they put into Doomfist compositions. This is a map where you can really show off how good your coordination is around a player like Blase, looking much better, much cleaner than Oasis.
Solid here for Boston, looking better on Eichenwald. Let's see how they fare on the defense when we come back for the next half.
Apagando las luces. Rains from above.
And welcome back. Boston able to push to the end of Eichenwald, but it happened in overtime. So if we see a situation where Paris is able to finish the map with time in the bank, they're just going to be going on an attack in overtime rounds for one more tick.
Very critical too, just like in the Dallas series that we had, a draw will lose you the series for Paris. So it's not just the map, you know, as you described, but more importantly, the series. So you have to defend here. I think there's a real world in which Boston could pull it off. They're going to run, again, the Widow and Pharah composition. It's the Sombra variation with Orisa here, which is very popular on Eichenwald. This, again, it requires so much coordination. So much coordination. They were able to pick Ben Best on Volskaya, off of Color X, iceling him, and then start to win the fight that way. But you're always looking to, with this composition as Boston, force Ben Best's shield to be swung around in multiple different directions. He can be often the one to die first or someone behind him, but you've got to get that crossfire to set up in such a way that Paris just can't find a way to safely approach the point, and they can't use that much terrain as the attackers here. So that's why this strategy is so solid on defense, but very difficult to execute. This is basically like playing Overwatch on hard mode right now. That's why we're seeing only really the top teams have great success with the Pharah Widow variations.
You can see a lot of conversation going on for the Paris Eternal, trying to make up their minds as far as what they want to piece together. They land on the Ryan Zarya, but accompanied by Roadhog instead of the Brig, and Gray on the Moira.
This is what Gladiators have been running to try to shut this down. Surecore on the Hog. It's a limited success. But that's, looks like Shanghai all over again, Shanghai versus Gladiators with this.
CK harassing in the back. It's a bit of damage through. Just gonna be a push out the side. Hook coaster on the aim god. Oh, Nico. Aim god thought they were wrapping around up top, but Nico fakes it, pushes straight back out onto the point. Finds that crucial pickup. Takes another breather, trying to stay alive. In the meantime, Bedbest and Gray both gonna be taken down. Color X coming up with some crucial snipes. All tracks them back through. Kellink's gonna be eliminated, but Tanye's gonna be gone. Advantage here for Boston Uprising, and they're gonna hold on. Very nice shot.
The idea with the Roadhog is to shut down some of this mobile, some of the mobile heroes the Boston Uprising are running, right? You get into a way where you can guarantee a kill, but it's not enough when you don't get multiple.
Shots coming through. I really love that Nico was just kind of hiding in the back of the point. Now the whole hog comes through. Manages to take down Fusions. Push that pharmacy comp far back. Second tick gonna be grabbed. Seems like Paris just gonna get it.
Yeah, well, you got the kill, you get the whole hog kill. After that, the hook kill into the whole hog kill. You get the multiple ones, and there's no sustainability for the Uprising.
No way for Kellex to go res.
Yeah, it's just not realistic. But this is rough for the Uprising. You needed a much better hold on A if you were hoping, to have a good time here and play. You could play, somewhat passively through B. But now you really have to take a lot of risks because the draw isn't good enough.
Well, looking for the drop down, EMP, RCK manages to find 4, and Bedbest absolutely vanishes on the back of the barrage here from Blase. Only kill that they're able to find so far, but that should be enough for them to start pushing that card forward. Still finds a hook on a Fusions, but only takes him down to about half. So can still start moving, especially as Cruz gets picked.
Blase has free reign of the skies here. We've seen a lot of teams swap over to hit scan to try to shut this down on Eichenwald because it's so open, and you have long sight lines. Fusions getting picked here is not a good look, though. And now Paris, they're just going to keep rolling this cart forward. ColorX is trying to do what he can, but he can't make himself visible. Like, he could poke like this, but he can't hit the rest of these members, or he's going to put himself at risk of getting knocked off or just tracked down by Finzi.
Fire strike through to the other side. Nico going to be taken down.
I don't know about that.
Taking a breather, it mitigates some damage, but when you have 4 or 5 people on the side of Boston collapsing on top of you, it's not going to be enough sustainability. Bomb up over the top. Unable to find a pick for Finzi. Will be able to make it back into the mech. As Gray uses that coalescence to try to keep everybody alive.
Paris here, they have a huge opportunity with this EMP coming up. And Blase needs to make sure he's not caught by that, because that's actually going to be the scariest part of this, is the bar getting knocked out of the sky. Obviously, hitting the Wrecking Ball could be huge here, too.
Good shots coming through. Hook nearly connecting. Trying to isolate Gray, but faints over to the side, drops down.
I really like the Moira here. It gives you a lot of extra presence.
Oh. Gray still falling low. That's going to be the nano, and Gray disappears. The barrage finds Bedbest as well. Only able to pick up Color Hex so far. Now RCK taken down, but Finzi's going to be knocked out of the back. The barrier coming down from Cruz. Catches the Baby Diva, catches Nico as he pops the whole hog, but he's cut off by a minefield. He can't walk through.
Just hoping they could get Danye back to this point to contest with EMP. Fusion's super low here.
Yeah, gotta respect the Roadhog, the hook in.
Yeah,
He's nearly take him down. Sliver of HP left on that Wrecking Ball. Healing coming through as Gray pushes forward, trying to keep Benbest alive. Blase going to be taken down by Onate from Aim God, manages to find Danye. And it is just a slaughter. Nico coming up with those last 2 kills as they push forward into B.
Nico was able to buy enough time to get the EMP set. They had enough time to get Danye back, and he's stuck to the point with the Roadhog, which is so difficult to kill, while also threatening Fusions nonstop. It's now swapped back over to the Reinhardt. Aim God's gonna go over to Zenyatta. Boston's not been running a lot of Zenyatta these days. We're running mostly the Ana, but I think this might be necessary here if you're gonna hope for turning the ult economy on its head when these grab situations keep happening, or start to happen here, then now that Danye swapped over to the Zarya.
Bomb out from 50, tosses it around the corner. Everybody else has to play forward. So Fusions does get taken down. Now Color Hex going to be gone as well. Best receives the bubble, finishes off RCK. Set swapped over onto that Diva. Now can push forward, has a Shatter ready to go. Sound barrier as well up for the Paris Eternal.
The Uprising here, you're starting to feel, like this is doable, but if you can win this fight, you can turn the ult economy in your favor, but you have to do it here. It has to be this fight.
Yep. Bubble goes forward. Sound barrier to start from the Paris Eternal. Boston Uprising, they peel their way back, but they have to tag onto the cart. RCK is going to be knocked out of the back. Shatter comes down, manages to find Color Hex. Hit through, Fusion matches, both hit the ground. Fusion's just trying to stay alive. Nearly has a Shatter of his own online, and Benbest is getting juggled around there looking for the kill. Unable to find it so far. Shatter coming in, unable to catch anybody on the side of Paris Eternal. Now everybody's perfectly grouped up here on the cart. The pin comes
huge
through.
block, Danye
taken down. Kellex eliminated. Benbest will be traded out by Color Hex, but they need a lot more than that if they want to stop Color Hex now. Main source of damage for the Boston Uprising has been taken down. RCK uses the self-destruct. He's unable to find any picks, makes it back into the mech, but only for a moment. Now Sound Barrier comes through. And just the 3 remaining members who are playing forward onto the cart. They try to drain down the clock. There's still 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go. Color Hex swaps over onto the Mei, goes into the ice block. Now has no way to survive, no way to get away. And one after the other, they get taken down. As Paris Eternal look to end the series. Another sound barrier built up by Cruz, stacked in with the Transcendence. No way to kill off the members of Paris. AimGod skirts around the back with a Tracer. Fusion's rejoins. But this should just be a matter of time as they look to close this one out and take the series. Fusion's down to half. Another ice block forward from Color Hex. Joins back in onto the cart. Pushed up over the side. Blase now with a Doomfist. It's just not enough. Try to elongate this one. RCK gonna be taken out. I feel like we're playing Assault right now. It's not. It's hybrid. But they push forward into the end.
That will
Time
be
to bank.
this series going over to Paris Eternal. They
get more time, actually.
Oh, that's
under
right.
a
Sorry,
minute.
might be.
45 seconds.
That's
They
right.
nearly
Close
got
to
it in
it,
a minute. So now both teams gonna get bumped up. So it's not over yet. Let's see what happens in OT rounds in just a sec, though. And here we go, overtime rounds. Boston getting second lease on life as they were able to hold off Paris for quite a considerable amount of time.
Yeah.
Which means that they get the bump up here for 1 minute. That's all they get. Even if they cap A, not going to be getting anything else.
Yeah, it's important to correct me there on that one. I didn't, in the chaos of that defense, didn't realize it dropped below a minute, but...
Chaos is putting it lightly.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a scrappy match, to say the least. Well, for the Uprising here now, they've got a second lease on life and a second lease on potentially turning this series around. It's not going to be easy with the weaker time bank. They are going to run this, though. The Doomfist, once again, seems to be what they're finding the most success with, is putting Color Hex in a position to do massive damage, and he alone is doing the damage required to get A here. So this is all about him, and Blase needs to set it up with RCK. There's so much threat that can then give the space required to Color Hex to take this one away.
Well, so far, slow start. Rocket's going to be flying in from Color Hex, but he's going to be slapped, actually. Gets taken out of the sky. Now looking for the pin. Fusions dives in front to try to keep that far alive. Both he and Color Hex going to be antied, and now Blase and AimGod are going to be taken down. 5 seconds remaining. Somebody's got to tag the point to try to force out that overtime. Color Hex down to half HP. They managed to do it. RCK gets the tag in this time, and Kellex gets a res on the Blase. But now Color Hex is going to be eliminated, so their best bet of shutting them down is now going to be taken away. Blase kills off Nico with the uppercut. Fusions the sliver of HP, just trying to stay alive, but the Shatter greets him straight to the face. Bionade keeps him in the fight for a little bit longer, but it's only so much that AimGod can do, and he can't do much when he's taking a nap in the back. Medbest gets the pin. Blase with a punch, managed to find both supports. Cruz and Gray gonna be taken down. Can they actually turn this one around is the question.
Possibly.
Blase gets the rocket punch on the Danye. We were talking of Color Hex, but maybe it's the Doomfist this time around that gets the work done. Another rocket punch pushes him off the point, but Vinci goes forward with the melee, takes him out, but Color Hex is rejoined. Finds Medbest. RCK gonna be eliminated. Vinci knocked out of the mech. They still haven't ticked up on the point. It's gonna be a nano mercy from Kellex, trying to stay alive. He's ensuring that he does not get taken down. They're ticking up. The first one gonna be snagged. I think they might have actually done it with a minute on the clock. Boston Uprising getting the cap here on A, but now they have to stay glued to that card.
Blase comes up with multiple kills there, has the Meteor Strike to then help contest the point for the rest of his teammates to come back in. As you say, he turned the tides on this one. You know, last time it was Color Hex, and then you see on this defense, Paris are almost able to stabilize, but you can see the power of a Doomfist left unchained. So considerations here for him as they head into this second push. It's going to be the Fist, but Danye has had enough. He wants the ability to shut down Farah and also Sombra and the Doomfist with the flashbang. So great counter pick here.
Oh, the barrage coming down from Color Hex. He needs that one to hit a bit more, but it hasn't happened. And Danye scoops the pharmacy kills.
The perfect hero to pick for this comp.
Yeah, takes him out. That's as far as they'll get, but considering it's a minute start, they get the cap, they advance the card very slightly. Paris Eternal only have 45 seconds ahead of them.
Yeah, and with a good defense here for Boston Uprising, this is, you know, when you look at the time bank, you start with 1 minute. This is a better chance to turn this series around than you would have expected with that push through. Great swap there by Danye at the end. Finzi sets up with the bomb. Tons of space, really, for him to just hit the headshots. And back at the beginning of Overwatch, when you see hit scan heroes come out, you see the Widowmaker, you see the McCree come out, even Soldier, back in the old days. Everyone was impressed with aim. Aim is important in Overwatch, but if you can't get the space to click heads, it doesn't matter. I mean, you expect people at this level at the Overwatch League to be able to hit those shots. So guess what? When Finzi sets up a bomb like this, you're going to hit him. So he puts the threat behind. They can't avoid this because they have to stick to the cart. Benbest is behind them as well. And even during EMP, I mean, there's just no way you can win that fight after that moment. So great play by Finzi there.
A great follow-up sleep onto Color Hex as well. Got that 1 kill in the barrage, and then instantly that dart came through. So really mitigating what could have been, maybe another team fight victory if he was able to get a couple kills. Paris Eternal now, 1:45. Need to cap A, need to advance that cart if they want to close out the series. Otherwise, Boston Uprising looking for that map win to try to get a reverse sweep.
Once again, they're running the Nico Roadhog here, trying to get a pick. Last time he got it, right at the beginning, I believe onto Aim God. And it looks like some considerations being made here to swap this off. Gray goes onto the Zenyatta. They see there's no Sombra. They see there's no Pharah here. It's just going to be traditional 3-3 defense here because you know that this is your win condition, is just get that ult advantage. It's very viable in a situation like this as the Uprising to just throw the Sombra away and go back to fundamentals here.
Because of the changes coming through, pretty much 30 seconds bought for the Boston Uprising with this defense. Fusions getting pressured out. Finzi's up on that high ground. RCK going to be taken out of the map. Now need to try to buy some time for him to pistol his way back through. Fusions, however, is under so much pressure, gets melted down by Danye. Color Hex is 100 energy about with a Zarya of his own, but he needs to start putting some kills on the board if they want to turn this one around. You can see the kite back coming through, so it seems like they're just going to have to try to hold this one at the gate. The Color Hex is getting staggered.
Yeah, they are going to have to hold this at the gate. They can do it, though. The big issue is that Danye is going to have a Graviton Surge first, and
split spawn.
Yeah, split spawn, unfortunate there. But when you look at Danye and how this fight is going to go, they're going to be able to hit the trance, too. Color X won't have a grab. They have sustainability and damage. Boston has to basically get a pick here somehow. I don't even know if they're really going to be able to get through this choke. Door's just opening.
They just have to stop it pretty much now. See right there, under 4 meters left to go. The grab comes through, manages to find Fusion. Samecon has that Transcendence out, keeps him topped up. Double support ult's now available for the Paris Eternal. Kellic still a little bit further away from that sound barrier. That could be instrumental. Bomb up over the top from Finzi, finds Kellic. They're not gonna have the sound barrier in the fight. Fusion drops the shatter. He catches so many members on the side of Paris Eternal, but they need to get the kills. Pin comes through. Gray gonna be taking down the barrier. A bit too late to see that Zenyatta. Kellic still gonna be dead, waiting to rejoin. Grab comes in. Fusion's a sliver of HP, gonna be taken down. Color Hex still alive. Manages to find one as Nico gets taken down. Bomb straight in onto the cart, but everybody hides underneath of it. And then they alive. Rejoin in. Kellic is there. The beat comes through. Benbest gonna be taken down. Remember that overtime bar is going to start plummeting. It might just be able to hold this one out. Gray going to be eliminated. Finzi nearly out of the mech now, going to be taken down. Cruz, sliver of HP, trying to hold out hope. Transcendence used by Aim God. OT ticks away and Boston pull it off. They start with a minute in that OT time bank. They get the defense, and now they're on the board. The hope, the dream of a reverse sweep is alive.
Clutch plays from Color Hex here, again on the Zarya. Reverse sweep's a staple of the Boston Uprising, and they're one step closer.
Just need to get a victory on that next map. Dorado going to be coming up next, so don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Helden sterben nicht.
Meteor strike.
the steam.
The series is still on. Boston Uprising, they pick up Eichenwald against the odds from the stall at the end for Paris' attack, draining them down below that minute mark. Then coming up with the clutch push, the clutch defense. Now it all comes down to Dorado to see if they can force us into a map 5.
Yeah. Gonna take a look at that shatter from Fusions in that final moment.
Absolutely huge.
So it was a lot of chaos, right? It's tough to observe all of this. It really is. Okay, so but he can't save Kelix, but he threads the needle here.
Yeah. The shockwave rolling through.
Nico's just not. I mean, he's not in a position to block that. He was trying to be, but you know, it's tough. And you don't expect Fusions to hit a shatter like that during all the displacement, and Finzi getting a bomb on Kelix all throughout all of that.
And it was also immediately after blocking Ben Best's shatter.
Yes.
So he blocks one, gets pinned, just says, okay, I'll walk behind the Reinhardt and just drop the hammer, catches 5. Great stuff from Fusions.
I mean, it's kind of what turned that around for them. I mean, that was the major moment. And you know, he's been trying all series long to have really good synergy with RCK on the Sombra to set up for some shatters, and you know, glad for him mentality-wise that he gets to be the one who saved the day here and stops the losing streak for Boston. Now, they might be able to get this reverse sweep if they can continue to perform to what we saw on Eichenwald, which was much cleaner than what we saw on the first 2 maps.
Yeah.
For Paris, they're going to be running this Mei strategy here at the front, which is very annoying to deal with.
That it is, and they're trying to be sneaky about it.
Yeah, so
wrap around that right side now.
You could test with the wall. Then they can't kill you while you're inside there, but you could still contest the cart. So this is a strategy that got popular in contenders for a while across the world. Very annoying. See it on this map and Route 66. It's an escort exclusive strategy. It's also very strong against Pharah because Pharah can't do much when you can contest behind this wall. So it's a pretty good counter strategy to what the Boston Uprising are doing here.
Now Blase going to be changing it up, moves over onto the Junkrat, trying to bounce some grenades in there. Really soften them up, that and also break down that barrier from Ben Best a lot more quickly.
So the thing is,
pressuring the left.
This never lasts forever, but you force your opponent to swap, you get an ult advantage, and you just buy so much time. It's so frustrating to deal with, especially if you haven't, you know, scrimmed against this before. I'm sure that Boston has, but it's hard on the fly to deal with this sort of thing when you're running so much Pharah, and that's your focus.
I mean, the cycle here is just put up the wall when the barrier goes low, buy more time, ice block in front when you've got that, and just keep that right shield healthy. And you can just use the defense matrix against Blase's nades on the other side. RCK going to be taken down. I guess he stepped a little too close to the sun there.
He just, yeah, he did. He tried to get a little bit more damage done to get the Dragon Strike. So the Dragon Strike will also end this, assuming it's not eaten by Finzi. And crazier things have happened, but this is just so much time by.
I mean, Riptire as well here could also shut this down pretty quickly.
Yep, that's going to be what they're going to look to do from above. He's doing it in the safe way.
I mean, if they can shut this down, it'd be huge. Well, there might not be anybody else to kill.
Oh.
They push outside because they hear the tire coming and there's just a barrage waiting for them. It's like you said, this doesn't last forever, but it does buy a lot of time.
And when you look at the ultimates here too, I mean, they're going to swap Nico over to the Hog to deal with this comp like they've been doing all series long when they are against it. Danye's got Graviton Surge almost ready here, so this is the moment where Fusions sets this up with the pile drop.
Oh, it's perfectly timed as soon as they try to get out of there.
But looking at the fight, the upcoming fight here.
Oh.
Well, or the fight that happened but we missed it.
The fight after this one. This one might already be over. Double kill off the Dragon Strike for RCK. So, all right, my work here is done. Let me go swap it up.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragon Strike was what they wanted to use to break that if possible there in the Riptire. So he finally gets it, is able to get value off of it actually in a different situation here. So well played. And now that the cart is rolling through to A, let's see what Paris wants to run here.
Minefield in the barrage dropped on top of Nico's head. Danye will be able to clean up the Pharah, but Ben Best taken down as well, so things still looking decent for the Boston Uprising on this push. Danye going to be taken down despite using that Graviton Surge. Fusion's so low! Sliver of HP! He's going to live! No one can take him down!
I wonder if Paris will keep this or if they're gonna switch Nico off, because their Hog isn't really working all too well. Hog works well when you have flank angles or you have a lot of choke points that your opponent has to funnel through. When you have this open space like this and there's not really any chokes, you know, you can hook if your opponent makes a mistake or if Fusions overextends, but you're never really, you know, in an ideal world gonna hit the priority targets here. They're just gonna push forward with him. They're gonna try to put him into position to get a hook.
Yeah, right now everybody pretty much playing up and above that card. Helix nearly getting taken down, Riptire through, manages to find Gray. It's gonna be a 2 for 2. Color Hex into the back, looking to soften up. Finzi knock him out of that mech, nearly able to find it. Nico hacked, will be finished off, and that's gonna be the pop on the mech, so the cart continues to advance again. Boston making decent time, 2:30 at the moment here. They can push through to the end of B. Get that extra minute and a half bump up.
Yeah, this is a really good scenario for Boston, despite the, you know, time bank being depleted by that Mei strategy earlier. Now they have free reign with the Pharah. Blase making the swap here too to make it even easier, and they can control these chokes with this. So much disruption.
Yeah, just looking to cause some chaos. Barrage in with that EMP stacked up. Means Medbest gets taken down, pushed around the corner. Nowhere to go for Gray.
I mean, look, there's no Brigida here, so you're gonna get so much value out of the. You're gonna get value out of the Wrecking Ball. You're gonna get value out of the Doomfist. And in this case, you've got an EMP coming at you. Barrage is out. There's a Doomfist tracking you on the other side. You have to deal with all of these things. Like, how can you possibly defend?
Yep, Name God under some pressure. Being pocket healed there by Helix, and they will go ahead and glide through. 3 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock.
And now Nico swaps over to the Brigida, but it's too late. And look, they're getting stagger kills here. And this is going to be another great push forward for the Uprising. I think the, you know, the story of the Roadhog on Dorado, at least for this week of competitive play, has not been very successful. We saw Surefour stick on it for a long time, and Nico doing the same here is just not panning out the way it may have in scrims.
A bit of a moment here for Paris Eternal to finally stabilize, as they will have 4 ultimates online, including that EMP. Right now, Boston Uprising still waiting to get close to some of these other ones. Valkyrie is the only one that they currently have. But Barrage EMP on a very similar timings, so might have both of those ready to go.
Nice catch there on the Color Hex. It's going to give them back control of this zone. It's really difficult to utilize Pharah on Dorado C because you have to go through small areas where you can't really utilize your flying ability, your jetpack.
Oh, Blase going to be taken down to get Finzi out of the mech. Self-destruct going to be used just so he can get back in safely.
Like, you can't fly over this wall as the Pharah, so you can't really get in here, so you're kind of forced to poke from outside, which doesn't give you much opportunity. Yeah. He's got the Barrage and they have EMP, so they can break through with that. So I understand not swapping. In fact, I think they should stick with this. It's just, I'm just trying to describe the difficulty of how to set this up, and it's going to be on RCK to make that EMP happen. Now they've gotten Color Hex in with threat of the Doomfist. Now he's going to look for that combo. Here's RCK.
It's about to have a little bit of airspace. RCK pops up over the top. EMP in. 3 members going to be hacked. The beat from Cruz looking pretty good. Sleep connects on a Color Hex, but still manages to get Finzi out of that mech. Meteor Strike down in the back. Tanya going low. The Rocket Punch lands. Blase takes him down. Nearly finds Nico. Pops him up over the top and even gets a finish on the Finzi. Cruz manages to scoop 1, but now he's got nowhere to go.
They had to use a lot for this. They had to use a lot for this, and they haven't really fully stabilized yet.
Oh, the sleep into the middle, no pile driver. Now Anti trying to stay alive, wraps around up over the top again, still holding on by a thread, and Nico in the corner gets taken down. Blase doing some serious work with this Doom.
Blase helping to set up everything that the Uprising are doing here. Color Hex swapped over the Tracer. The Pharah's not going to find value here anymore. Donnie nearly with the EMP. That's really what they need to prevent C here, is a big EMP as soon as he hits it. 97% at the moment. He does not have it yet, but he's about to.
Hack on the fusions. Not taking too much fire yet, though. He's still going to be safe. Donnie just waiting for his moment with his EMP. Nano is ready from Aim God. RCK nearly able to match with an EMP of his own. See who can strike first as we're down our last 15 seconds for Boston's attack. EMP comes through, only catches fusions than RCK. His EMP comes out, doesn't find anything. Healed an eye on the 2 members on the side of Paris Eternal, but the kills need to come through. Blase catches 2. Nico going to be taken down, only at the cost of RCK, and now the res comes back in. will be in overtime, but it seems like they should be able to make this one happen. Everyone else zoned away from the point. Boston, they make it to the end again in overtime.
Well played here by the Uprising, knowing their win conditions to get into Dorado C, to set up for a barrage fight, is one of the toughest things you could do at this level of play, and they made it happen. It's so crazy that even though Doomfist, especially outside of pro play, is kind of considered to be a pretty tough hero to deal with, somewhat oppressive. He gets these picks, he gets the kills, right? He carries. Boston Uprising are doing not only that, but also just setting up so many flank angles for Blase that allow RCK to then get into position through a choke, and then he can hit an EMP that then empowers the barrage. You can see that when this strategy works for the Uprising, how well they have prepared this. And you know, you can start to understand why we're seeing so much Doomfist from them, why RCK, his style of Sombra, sometimes does struggle with this composition, but they have clearly scrimmed this style a ton. And it's really cool when you can see it work. It's just so difficult to execute, but when you do make it work, I mean, it is a thing of beauty, and power to the Uprising for sticking to their style. You know, especially in a series where you lose one more map, you're out of it, and they are still, I mean, they pulled off Farah in C of Dorado. That is not something you see every day.
And they made it to the end after having so much time taken away from them by the cheese strat that Paris was running with the May. So you can see here, Blase just going to be back over onto the Farah, Color Hex with that Widowmaker. Paris for now. It's going to be Nico on that Hog with Danye on the Sombra.
Okay, for the Eternal, it's sticking with Nico again on this Hog. Now this is a place where you can get a lot done with the Hog. Right at the beginning, right on A. I like this choice a lot more compared to how long he stayed on it on the defense.
He got a lot of damage. Hack instantly onto Ben Best as he pushes out of the house. Hook coming through though. God trying to stay alive. The sleep comes in, but Pinsy is able to finish him off. RCK gets the wrap around, does finish off that Roadhog, so a 1-for-1. Much faster run back here for the side of Paris. Rocket still pressuring from above. Blase looking to get that barrage online. Now has it. RCK a bit further behind for the EMP, so will not have that combo for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Just gonna play it slow and steady, wins the race here, essentially.
For that left side wrap around, Nico goes for the hook, unable to find one.
Gotta have that EMP for the engage on A itself, so if you have to give up this choke, I think it's worth it. Boston are so close to that EMP. And they know that Cruz, there's no way he could have a sound barrier for this at this point.
Nico looking for the back angle with Danye. Barrage comes in, instantly melting through that Zarya. They managed to find two at the cost of Farah, and if they can get to a safe enough spot, Kellic should be able to res him back in. And here going off right now as Color Hex puts two on the board.
It's gonna be staggers coming through, not the worst case scenario here for Boston, or excuse me, for Paris. But Boston Uprising now in a great position to just continue to farm EMP charge.
They almost got Binzy there.
Yep. I want to give some extra charge, I guess, to his supports. They're both at ultimate charge right now. So for the Paris Eternal here, I mean, you don't have a grab yet. I mean, you didn't build that much damage on that last fight. You're, again, hoping up for these hooks to be how you open up this point.
Oh,
that's a great one.
Blase. Can't finish him off though. The healing comes through. They managed to keep him alive. Nano used by Amgod. Trying to push them back, but while you're in whole hog, you can't take a breather. You can't heal yourself. Blase at a distance is just able to finish him off. Gray taken out of the coalescence instantly by Color Hex. Cruz is only able to find one, now has to use the sound barrier. The EMP comes through, deletes the shielding. Ben Best is gone, Danye eliminated. They get the res onto the Ana as well, put him straight back into the fight. A minute and 25 left in the time bank for Paris Eternal, still waiting for that shatter, for that grab to come up.
They were so crushed in that fight, and this is gonna be a stagger.
Dancing on him.
Yeah, with some dancing. But they were so crushed in that fight that, like you say, they don't build the critical tank ultimates they need. And there's a world in which, if this continues, especially with a stagger, that RCK could get another EMP before those are ready. Donnie is not really able to do much damage in these fights. It's unlikely, but it's possible. Either way, you really need this fight to go longer, and that's where the Moira comes in. You can force that fight to be a little bit longer as long as you've got that left click energy left. Keep them alive, get that done. If you had the sound barrier, sure, that'd be another way.
Oh, hack onto Gray.
That means no healing here, really.
He makes his way
Not the
inside,
AoE.
so at least he's not going to get picked off as a healer.
Not the orb, rather.
Yeah. Vinci, heal denied, down below half. Now gets that ult ready to go. Fusion's just trying to sustain himself. Barriers coming down, just cheating back and forth between them. EMP comes out, as you say, gets it online before Danya can have that Graviton Surge. And instantly, 3 kills come in, but it's traded back in the hands of the Paris Eternal. The res comes through from Kellex, but Fusion's back into the fight. Shatter coming down, RCK gonna get caught. Vinci pushes forward, but they cannot finish him off yet. Then Best gonna be eliminated. Bomb goes up over the top, they have the barrier, it'll break it. He'll make it back into the mech, but now we're entering into overtime, and Paris need to get that card through A. They need to do it right now. Fusion's alone. The pocket starts coming in as Kellex rejoins. God is here as well. Grab up over the top, manages to find Color Hex. Laze with a barrage. Gonna be taken out of the sky here. Ben Best rejoins with a Wrecking Ball. Finishes off Aim God. Rez comes in, Color Hex is back into the fight, but they need that Widow to start popping heads if they want to hold this off.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, Kellex trying to buy time, trying to get that res, not gonna happen.
Yeah, taken down. Gets eliminated, Color Hex does as well. They buy a little bit more time here. RCK though, he gets another EMP built up throughout the duration of that overtime fight.
Okay, so for the Uprising, they bought a lot of time. They've obviously pushed, into overtime there for A, but they also built another EMP. For Color Hex here, this is going to be one of the better parts of the map to run the Widow. That's why Danya is going to match him, and this is where you see Widowmaker duels on Dorado. Throughout the history of Overwatch, this has been a common occurrence. There's both considering the swaps here because you don't want to run the Widow necessarily unless you have to. In terms of ult charge, your Zarya list right now is Paris Eternal with this Roadhog comp. They have a Widow, you've kind of got to match it.
Yep. Drop down, EMP comes through, finds the front line. Forces the sound barrier by Cruz, and Kellex going to be taken down by Vinci. Fusion's sliver of HP barely manages to make it out, but so much space going to be bought here by the Paris Eternal. Only a minute and a half remaining, however, so need to kind of glide through this point quickly. And I guess RCK showed himself, so Danye finds the shot.
Yeah, I mean, you've got that opportunity when you have free line of sight as the Widow. Ooh. And there's another one.
Yep. Color Hex misses that first shot. Follow-up hit. Now Kellex gone. Got the dink onto Fusions as well just beforehand. He'll get finished off before he can even pile drive. RCK is into the back, but the card is rolled through. 2.5 minutes. Now on the board here for Paris Eternal. They still have to make it to the very end.
Boston kind of painted themselves into a corner there where they gave full line of sight to Danye, and he's able to shoot down a choke where he has line of sight advantage, and basically Color Hex had to poke out, peek against him, and obviously didn't go well. So, as long as this swap comes through, yeah, there it goes. Danye will probably just ult swap himself shortly as well. He's gonna, I guess, look to have one more pop-off moment here. He's got 2 minutes. But as soon as he sees Color Hex on the Zarya, he's probably gonna be thinking, I need to swap too.
Bomb comes through, doesn't find anything. Gray heal denied, finished off by Fusions. Tries to get the leap kill on the Danye, but it doesn't matter because Aim God is still there. Go ahead and scoop that one up. Whole Hog interrupted. Nico gonna be slept now, woken up, and likely finished off. Bionade from Aim God. Make sure of that. Danye will swap over onto the Zarya. As the kills continue to come through, Boston, they regain control of the card.
Yeah, he's got to swap as soon as he sees
oh boy.
Well, he's going to swap when he sees the Widow's gone. In terms of ult charge, they're very similar.
he's still not sacking.
He actually is going to just remake.
They armor pack him.
Yeah, this actually, ends up being okay for the Eternal. It's annoying. They have to wait a few more seconds before they can really engage, but they fight on the low ground. High ground control to Color Hex immensely here until Finzi gets that remake, and then they can challenge it. About to get it here in just a second.
Needs a couple more bullets to connect. There you go. Picks that one up.
This is basically a neutral fight right now. I mean, there is a nano boost available for both teams in a second. Color Hex is slept. Yeah.
Bionade through, finds RCK. He gets melted out of the mech just moments before he gets that self-destruct online. So now can't rejoin. And that was going to be tossed out. Fusions, the recipient. Ben Best, so Ryan v. Ryan. In that regard, barrier used by both teams. Shatter comes through, manages to find Color Hex, but Aim God going to be taken down by Gray in that back line. 30 seconds remaining for Paris as they start to round the final corner. The Baby Diva for RCK going to get finished off. Color Hex needs another nap. Now woken up, Aim God swapping over onto the Zenyatta here. in the last moments of this map.
Hoping for that damage.
That best nearly taken down. The Shatter catches 3! Has he done it again? Fusions! He knocks him to the ground. 2 kills come through. The rally now going to be taken away. Blase eliminated from the fight. Cruz comes up with the kill. Bomb over the top for Fincy. Doesn't find anything, but he makes it back into the back. But now Bray going to be taken down. Aim God living up to the name. Snipes out that enemy flex support on the other side. Now Fincy going to be taken out of the mech. Danya with a sliver of HP. Has nowhere to go. Color Hex has his number. The OT will tick away, and we are going to a map 5 Boston Uprising. They keep the momentum going.
How many times have we seen this happen this season? I can't keep track. They are able to turn these around. Game 5, we'll see if they can win control this time around to close it out.
It was a 2-0 for Paris on Oasis. Now they have to come out concise if they want to complete this. It's on a knife set. Let's see what happens on the final map. And here we are, down to the wire. One final map to decide it all. Boston Uprising looking to pull off yet another reverse sweep, this time versus the Paris Eternal, who started off so strongly. The first 2 maps quite handedly going their way, Wolf, but it's been turned on its head.
Yeah, now if you look at reverse sweeps this season, you can see they've got quite a few. There's 4 of them versus the Fuel, Rain, Defiant, and Spitfire, and they're looking to put a 5th on the board here. And this is kind of what they're famous for. You know, Puckett alluded to it earlier in the halftime show, you know, asking Doa, like, how do they do it again? And Doa didn't have faith. I didn't have faith. But here we are, 2 clutch shatters by Fusions in critical moments at the end of those maps, bringing them back in it. And it's been piece by piece, this team, on all different angles, you know, from Fusions having those clutch plays, from Blase giving space, to Color Hex on both the Zarya, where he's had a great performance, but also on the Pharah, we've seen him on the Widow. And then you've got Aim God coming up there, big there in the end with the Zenyatta swap and going all the way to that Trance, which he didn't need in the end, but doing a ton of damage. It's a team that's really, in this series, at least the latter half of it, coming together, you know,
Yep.
whereas it did not at the beginning.
Certainly not. Nepal to decide it all here. Right now, Boston showing us a potential bunker setup. See if they actually want to move forward with this. As long as you can get the first cap, you can be very strong. If you lose the neutral fight, suddenly you have to change things up, and Paris Eternal is going to have an ult advantage.
Yeah, it's very powerful, especially when it's unexpected, and you can't scout on control where your opponent's comp is. There's just no way to do that. If you do and try to swap, it's just too late. So they're just going to go slap this Bastion down and try to do burst damage and win this fight. You have also the threat of halts with fusions on the Orisa. Look at Eternal. They're like, okay, I see this. I'm going to go head on.
Bubble comes through onto Bedbest, trying to keep him alive. Immortality field going to be eliminated. Gray is able to scoop up the kill here onto the Bastion. Keller trades one back, gets rid of Cruz, and now Benbest going to be taken down, so still potential here for the Boston Uprising as it's a 2-for-2. They have the support advantage for Boston. Color Hex just going to be changing it up, not going back to the Bastion. Wants to join in with the Tracer, get back here quickly. And Matrix comes down, pushing that extra damage through.
Who the hook there?
On the Cruz with a bubble from Danye. His clutch helps keep him alive. Aggressive push forward now. Nico playing up into the faces. Immortality field going to be taken down now. Aim God and Blase both eliminated. That'll be the cleanup. This will be the cap going forward for Paris Eternal.
I have bad news for Boston. So even though that was a close fight, they've given
got to swap
every single ultimate over to the side of the Eternal, basically. Obviously, Cruz doesn't have his, but they have to swap, and they're a whole ult cycle behind while also not having control of the point.
Yep.
That's basically an all-in strategy, what they did. You lose that first fight like that and give ult charge in the longer fight, it's rough.
Well, Grab going to be coming through. They try to stay alive, but Aim God will get taken down, as does Blase.
They take away the only ultimate that the Boston Uprising had, while also crushing with one of their own. They still hold 5. By all in, I mean, if you commit to this strategy and you lose it in the longer fight like that, when they were so close, then you just give so many advantages over to your opponent, because you can't run it again.
Yep.
And, you know, it failed. So this is just going to be a really hard clawing back in for the Uprising.
Yep, we get that zoom in, see 5 ult strong still for the Paris Eternal. Danye, however, going lower and lower, will get finished off by Color Hex. Bedbest pops the Primal Rage, goes forward, now sees Color Hex over into the corner, trying to finish him off. Jumps in deep, now looking for Aim God. A couple more smacks would finish him off, but he's actually going to be able to stay alive. Bomb out from RCK. Unable to find anything, same for Finzi, but the Baby Diva on the side of Boston Uprising is unable to make it back into that mech. Finzi's going to be melted out of his, so suddenly potentially winnable
huge
fight
move
here,
by the
but
Color Hex.
Cruz takes him out of the fight. Aim God wins the 1v1 against the Zenyatta, takes down Gray. Blase now going to be eliminated. It's an all-out scrappy fight here on the point as Paris Eternal continue closer to forcing out overtime. Boston, they do get the flip at 85%, now in control, but can they hold on to it? Aim God, he uses the Transcendence.
Yeah, that was a bit of an unnecessary one there. Perhaps a fat finger, you have to imagine. That's really unfortunate, as Danye is about to have another another Graviton Surge.
Could have been pressured, hard to say.
Yeah, it is hard to say in that moment, but we know in hindsight that it obviously wasn't necessary, but it's tough in the individual moment, you know, as a pro gamer to make those calls. But now, Boston Uprising kind of swung the momentum back in their favor. If this grab can hit before Gray has his own Transcendence, they can even up the tide here.
The planet's slow, and Color Hex is without any charge as he got sent into the pit by Cruz. So needs to try to build that up.
Yeah, it's one of the other reasons why that kill was so important.
Is he playing forward? Bedbest leaps in.
0 energy still, he can't get bubble value.
Grabs online for both of these Zaryas now. It's going to be Paris who pull the trigger first. Barrier comes down to keep Fusions alive. He popped the Primal Rage as well. Now looking for some smack-offs, but he's still dangerously low. Grab comes through, catches the members on the side of Paris Eternal. While over the top, unable to find anything. So far, a 1-for-1, but RCK nearly taken out of his mech. Bedbest, the Primal Rage expires. Gets a Zarya bubble just in time to try to stay alive. It's almost picked up, but Kelix finds a crucial boot. Now Danye gonna be taken down. Boston Uprising, they maintain control of the point. They look to take the lead. Now it's 73%.
Great fight by the Uprising. Grabbing second there and waiting as long as Color Hex did was the right call, because he didn't have energy. He was able to get a more, you know, a better positioned Graviton Surge and also build the energy in that fight from the defensive fight they took around the solo grab on the Fusions. He bubbled Fusions, kept him alive, got that energy.
So the struck from Tinsy tossed into the back. Doesn't find any picks as members going low here on the side of Paris. The beat comes in from Cruz. They try to keep them alive. Danye under so much pressure will get finished off. Fusions finds the kill. Now into overtime in favor of Boston. Ult still coming online for them. Graviton Surge nearly there. Nearly a sound barrier for Kellex. Vincent's going to be used by Gray, but Vinci still gets taken out of the mech. And now the grab comes in. Color Hex is going to be locking down Ben Best by himself. The damage isn't there. He needs a bit more follow-up to try to take down that Winston. Leaps back over onto the point. Fusions is in the back. The Primal Rage comes through. Looking for the smack off. Ben Best nearly taken out. Manages to get back onto solid ground. Aim God going to be sent into the pit. Cruz finds a crucial one. Sound barrier now out from Kellex as he tries to extend the fight. Graviton Surge comes in from Danye, but Ben Best is taken down. Bomb up over the top, finds nothing, but they're zoned off the point. And Boston take the first round despite the botched start.
Despite the botched start, they took several good defensive team fights. And the last one in particular, where Danye was burst down at the beginning, was the, I feel like the best coordinated push that we've seen from Boston like that in a while, where they weren't passive, they weren't timid, you know, running again the 3-3 and not, you know, the Sombra variations of the Doomfist, right? Where they just made a commitment. They made a call to go and target down Danye. No doubt that was Fusions making the shot call to be aggressive there and to target down Danye. The target selection was good. It's a tough target to burst down because he's got his own personal barrier. He's got all the healing behind him, but they made that happen. And from there on, it was just kind of smooth sailing. Now we'll see the Sombra Doomfist here. Reinhardt Zarya variation. You know, there's a few of those, but this is the, you know, basically dive goats, you could almost call it.
The hack fist, as the kids have been calling it these days. Goes into the back, doesn't get much shielding from that passive though. I think has to try to peel back. RCK slept and heal denied, but somehow makes it out.
Yeah, nice hack there on the bin best, but he gets the bubble.
Yeah, so that rocket punch not going to be netting too much. Danye able to finish off. Helix, however, is going to be absolutely huge for them because Cruz already has a major advantage as far as ult charge is concerned with those sound barriers. Nano used from Aim God, but the cleanup is still coming through. Paris Eternal looking to get that first cap yet again.
Great start here. And the Doomfist doesn't hold water when the bubbles are this good, then you can't get the picks you're looking for. This isn't a comp where Doomfist is giving space like the ones we were talking about before. This is when Doomfist needs to get the burst done, gets the extra, you know, bubbles coming through from Color Hex, and your Doomfist is kind of in a lot of ways the carry hero here, like we talked about on Oasis. Which is why part of the reason why Color Hex is behind on grab charge. He's playing more support instead of front line.
For that hack, Ben Best will get hacked out. Grab goes through, however. Bionate tossed in. Cleanup is there. Paris Eternal winning that next fight here on just a single ultimate named God. Looking to get staggered here. We'll have the follow-up there from Cruz.
In terms of ultimates, you know, I mean, Boston's won a lot of fights down on ultimates, so I don't call them out on this next fight yet. But RCK has the EMP, but there's an answer from Cruz in terms of sound barrier. He's been so good this year in the Overwatch League at shutting it down. Look at where he's hiding now. RCK is trying to decide, do I want to hit only him or the team? He has to make a tough call. He wants the perfect EMP. If he could hack first with the right click, there's no sound barrier now!
Zip now goes up over the top. The EMP coming through, perfectly done by RCK. The cleanup is there. Two members in that front line going to be taken down. Vinci gets an armor pack, but now hacked out. Can't use a D-Matrix to try to mitigate anything. He'll get popped out. Boston still looking for the flip. Paris, they'll build up about 73% here.
A lot of Sombras would have tried to hit Cruz and half of the Eternal there and just go for the EMP, but RCK took the riskier route, but with the highest possible return, just straight up right-click hack, prevent that sound barrier, and then go straight in with the translocator. Very patient, communication good with the team there as well, so they can capitalize. And Boston gets to keep a lot of ultimates because of that.
Yep. And now RCK straight back to his ways. Gonna harass him as they go on the approach. He's already at 60% for that next EMP. Nano and barrier up for Cruz. Might go to force one of those out with that grab out from Color Hex. See when he wants to use it. Fire strike through from Bedbest. Gets a lot of damage. He's got that Shatter online. Gets hacked immediately, so has to peel back and raise that shield. Shatter comes in from him! And it's gonna be quite big. Knocks Aim God Fusions to the ground. Both of them gonna be taken out. The barrier from Kellex is a little bit too late. And no Transcendence available for the Zenyatta. Close to 50% on the board for Boston Uprising, but Paris Eternal, they regain control.
Let's see how this next exchange with RCK goes versus Cruz. And how Paris Eternal want to position themselves, because a lot of teams will try to play aggressively off the point, especially when you're this far ahead in terms of ult charge. Looks like Paris wants to play back. They're going to try to respond with Sound Barrier again in this fight, but there's a grab on top of it, and they don't have Trans. Cruz is seen.
Oh, RCK. Looks over the side, just gets that back real quick, keeps himself topped up. Grabs out from either side, bombs going through. Vinci makes it back into the mech, but now the EMP comes in, manages to catch out 4 members on the side of Paris Eternal. Kills need to be there for Boston to try to turn this one back in and close it out. Otherwise, Paris looking to extend this to a 3rd and final round. Flick, Shatter comes in from Benbest, but he doesn't catch anybody. Fusion's still going to be taken down, though. Danye pushing forward aggressively, manages to find that, but now Benbest going to be taken out. So an exchange on both Reinhardts. Edge here.
It's tense here. Color X
teams. AimGod getting slept. RCK nearly eliminated. AimGod barely manages to stay alive for a little bit longer. But RCK gets pushed back up.
Color X could turn this around. He's got high energy.
Still alive and in the fight. High energy, as you say. The Graviton Surge nearly online. Just a couple more percent to go. Fusion's taking a nap.
Do it. There's the grab.
Comes through. No way to take that one out. As Vinci has been popped out of the mech. Gray and Cruz taken down. Benbest now. Danye. Everybody getting eliminated. Vinci will get finished off. The team wipe is there. Boston, they get the flip, but we're not done yet because they're still only at 50%.
Huge plays by Color X. So passive, but building that energy slowly there to get that damage done while sticking to the point and making sure the round doesn't end. Then it's the grab when he needs to, and guess who's there to catch it? It's Fusion's on the side. Big Shatter follow-up, and they've got the EMP now for this last fight, which could close out the series for them and get that reverse sweep.
Into the hack, tagged up a bit, jumps over the top, all 6 members hacked by RCK. No chance to respond.
This is a fight where you don't have support ult, so you know if you could get them to EMP you here, then they've wasted that ultimate and you can come back in with a fight where they don't have that tool. The problem is that when you do that, you don't really build up the last part of your support ultimates. Cruz is almost there, but he's not quite, and Gray is not going to have that nano unless this fight goes real long, so the Boston Uprising have that sustainability. Huge fire strike there as well from Fusion's going to put him up close to another Shatter.
Jonas is now on Paris, have to win this round. We're in double overtime, 99-99 on either side. Cruz is hacked, as you say. Sound barrier not yet available, now going to have it. Drops the beat immediately. Both sides all shielded up, no one taken down yet. Boston looking for the finish. Paris Eternal looking to extend us to another round. The bash onto the bomb, make sure it can't get into the back. Nicely done there by Blase, maybe just saved them. Pushing forward here, Fusion still holding on, has that Earth Shatter. Transcendence now out from AimGod. Danye, he's got the grab. He drops and the Shatter comes through. He catches 3 members. Gray gonna be gone. Danye cleaned up. Benbest, Vinci. The rest of them hacked. The team killed it, finish it. Boston Uprising. They do it again the 5th time this season. They reverse sweep the Paris Eternal.
And the losing streak is over for the Boston Uprising. What a turnaround. From struggling to coordinate their Doomfist at the beginning to finding value on the Pharah compositions, having great coordination in a traditional 3-3 there on Nepal, and then bringing the Sombra back in the end. You can see the frustration on Cruz's face. He played as best as he could against that Sombra, but sometimes in this meta, it's just not enough. And at the end of the day, Boston Uprising bringing it back, and Fusions comes in the clutch. Without him, this series would have ended on Eichenwald, and without him, it would have ended on Dorado. He brings it back, hits the Shatter at the end as well. The man, the myth, the legend, the shot caller, and that's what it takes to get reverse sweeps.
Perseverance for the Boston Uprising, but heartbreak for the Paris Eternal. Let's go ahead and throw down to Mika, who's standing by on the floor for an interview.
Thanks, guys. We're here with Blase from the Boston Uprising. The crowd is so happy. Make some noise for Boston Uprising. That's what I like to hear. So, as they were saying up there, you guys had an amazing defense on Eichenwald. If you didn't hold Paris there, it would have gone to a draw and you couldn't have taken the series. So can you give us an insight as to what the comms were like in that moment?
I just really told my team to calm down. Like, we're going to win this fight. Just relax. Just relax. Just focus targets. They're low. Just win the game.
Well, it worked. Congratulations. Nice job calming them down. And as we know that you guys have kind of a penchant for reverse sweeps. This is, as I'm told by the control room, your 4th reverse sweep this season, which marks the record for most reverse sweeps in a season. What is it about Boston that just has the mental fortitude to get you guys through that 5th map?
We're just not tilters. You know, at the halves, we just really want to pull back. You know, we can win this, right? Like, we just really want to focus and win the game.
Well, congratulations. Win the game you did. Thank you, Blase. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Mika, for, yes, at the end there. So, man, what a way this game turned out. I mean, it was looking like just a stomp at the hands of Paris Eternal at the beginning. And then Boston, they just find that momentum. They just did not relent. The clutch moments coming through, especially from Fusions with a lot of those shatters coming in. This is absolutely monstrous performance by Boston.
Yeah, Fusions, I mean, the guy has been such a boon for this team since the very beginning of the season. He's led them to so many victories. He's made so many good calls. And he comes up clutch oftentimes in those moments where you hit the shatter or you don't. You hit the shatter or you lose the series, right? And it's really hard to stay composed in those moments. But once again, he does.
He does, and I mean, that victory right there very well might have saved Boston's season after the loss streak that they found themselves on here in the stage. For Paris Eternal, this was a bit of a must-win for them, so very unfortunate to suffer that loss here. Now going to be at that 3-3 record, but Boston holding on.
They are both still neck and neck, obviously, in terms of map differential, and this puts Uprising to the same score line as the Eternal, but it's going to be close. I mean, these two still have to step it up going forward if they want to make that cutoff for play-in. And I think if both of these teams can play more consistently, like they have been overall, I feel, in Stage 3, well, Eternal more than Uprising, but if Uprising can play like they did today and Eternal can play like they did for this stage, there's a shot for these teams. So the competition is fierce. I mean, it really is.
That it is. But guys, let's go ahead and figure out who our player of the match is, presented by Omen by HP. I mean, this could go a couple different ways, but seems like it will be Fusions here at the end of the day coming up with the award. And I mean, so well deserved. The clutch shatters coming in and just so many other great moments for him sprinkled through. But we also know that he's the shot caller. He's the one who keeps people level-headed.
Yeah. I mean, he had all the moments that mattered to save them in this series. I mean, there were arguments to be made that perhaps Blase and Colorhex played better than him overall individually, but it doesn't matter. We wouldn't even have a conversation about who the player of the match was if Fusions hadn't come up big on those maps, and that's what really seals the deal as to why he gets the award tonight. Great player from England, and he is... I mean, I'm honestly kind of speechless with how much he was able to do there at the end to turn things around.
I mean, you can see right there, 20 Earth Shatter stuns, 12 of those translated into kills, so really good collapse from the rest of the squad, capitalizing on those big moments. But guys, I mean, long series, great one there, but we're just getting started. We still have more series coming up. Houston Outlaws is going to be taking on the Florida Mayhem, so make sure you guys tune in on Twitch and ESPN. For those of you who are watching on Disney XD, thank you for joining us. Hope you'll join us online.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey man, what's up?
You need anything for today?
Nah man, I think I'm set.
Big day today, man?
Yeah, huge. Let's play some Overwatch.